All right, guys, we got a good show for you today with Kevin Milam. He's part of the New York Yankees organization. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I'm interested to hear your stories. How'd you get into baseball yourself?
Yeah, I've always played baseball since I was young, grew up playing baseball, soccer, basketball, football. Played all four growing up. Baseball, I always really gravitated towards and pretty much stuck with it through, my whole life, all the way up through high school.
Yeah. So when you got to high school, what was your high school baseball experience like for you?
Yeah, so I got to high school, made the varsity team as a freshman. I was a young player on the varsity team. Had the option or considered going to a private school in the area, De La Salle. It's really notable for its football team, but really good baseball program as well. Chose to stay home in my hometown, Brentwood, California. Went to Heritage High School. Made the varsity team as a freshman. Pitched, hit a little bit on that team, and pretty much stayed with the same role for all 4 years I was there.
Yeah. So, that first varsity tryout for me, that was my most nerve-wracking experience for me because I knew I was going to be able to make the team, but just going out there and actually doing it was something that was a struggle for me. When you had that tryout, what was your mindset going in and how'd you deal with I guess the pressure in that moment?
Yeah, so it was a lot. I played some fall ball with the varsity team, so I was getting a little acclimated to it. January comes around, we have our tryouts, and I was trying out on the big field, not on the freshman field. And yeah, it was a little nerve wracking. These guys are a lot older. A lot of them play with each other for the years prior. And coming in as a freshman, it can feel like you're kind of shaking things up a little bit. So I definitely felt a little out of place to start. But as the game starts going on, the tryouts start going on, you get a little more comfortable. And at
Yeah.
the end, you feel like you're in a good spot.
Yeah. So something I always talk about a lot is I always say this for high schoolers, a lot of people commit a lot earlier in baseball than they do in other sports. Do you notice that, and why is that the case?
I'm not really sure. It's pretty unique how baseball does do that.
Mhm.
I think a lot of it has to do with the scouting process, and the college recruiting process is pretty grueling for baseball. They want you to play in these tournaments and to, leave the state and to pay all this money to go play for these travel teams. And I think it's a lot on the, parents of kids. And I mean, when I was going through it, it was a lot on me. You really just want to play with your friends and have a good time, but you're expected to go to these tournaments and these showcases to try to get seen. So I think that plays a lot into the early recruitment. People really just want to commit as soon as possible to get it over with, it seems like.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was with a few of my buddies who play college, and they were telling me that they knew guys that committed in seventh and eighth grade. Now it's getting younger and younger. It feels like every year. So you ended up committing and playing at St. Mary's for baseball. What was your experience like there? And can you kind of talk a little about the recruiting process first about that?
Yeah, so I was early recruit, just like everybody, these
Yeah.
days. I was a sophomore in high school, had a good game pitching, hit as well that game, hit really well. So I think I had through 7 innings, had 12 strikeouts, a couple hits. And my high school coach says, "Hey, so and so, or not so and so, Matt Fontino
Yeah.
with St. Mary's wants you to give him a call after the game." So I give him a call, and he says, "All right, why don't you come on over to the campus?" It was only 45 minutes away from my house. We'll do an unofficial visit. You can come and just check out the baseball field and see, a practice. So I go there, talk with the head coach, and Eric Valenzuela. He gives me his number, and on the campus, he says, he offers me the scholarship, and he says, take your time, think it over. I want guys that want to be here, so I don't want you to feel like this is rush decision, and give me a call when you feel like you're ready to make a decision. And within a week, I felt like it was the right decision. They were going to give me opportunity to play right away. It was 45 minutes away from my hometown, and yeah, I mean, sophomore year, was kind of ready to get it wrapped up with. I was pretty tired of doing all the showcases and all the
Yeah.
tournaments, and hey, come do this camp at our school. And yeah, so I was just ready to get it going.
Yeah, I know it can be a lot. I know guys that every weekend, for in high school, they were booked, doing stuff. Did
Yeah.
being close to home, was that a big factor for you?
Yes and no. I'm pretty used to playing, everywhere, all around the country. I think it's kind of the nature of baseball and
Mhm.
sports, now. So it did play a little bit of a role, but I think still would have done fine, going elsewhere. I really just like Coach Valenzuela and
Yeah.
Coach Fontino and the program that they were putting together at St. Mary's, and it was like kind of like a rebirth of the program that came in, changed some things up, and it just seemed like a good fit for me.
Yeah. So one thing that really like intrigued me about you. So you hit and pitched in college. So did you want to do that in the pros? And like, what was it like having that opportunity to do both in college?
It was really cool. I think they tell, you get recruited early. Every coach will tell you, you're
Yeah.
going to have the opportunity to do what you want to do here.
Mhm.
And for me, I was hit and pitch. And I had to really, keep doing both well when I got to college in order for me to keep doing that. And I think it was really awesome. It was like a unique experience. I hit in every single game at St. Mary's except for one. And the game I didn't hit in, I started on the mound and pitched.
Yeah.
So during my 3-year career there, I played every game, and that's something that I really don't take for granted. That's awesome, being able to be a part of every game, and yeah, it's a unique situation. I did have an opportunity to choose either one through the draft in a way.
Yeah.
I could tell teams, hey, I want to hit or I want to pitch. Ultimately, I wasn't so sure what I really wanted to do. I felt like I could do both at the professional level. So, I was telling teams, hey, I'll do either, whatever you guys see me as.
Yeah. So I feel like batting and pitching was like it's a mental grind. How important was the mental side of things for that in baseball for you?
Yeah, I mean, baseball is. I would argue it's 90% mental. It's a mental
Yeah.
game. You know, there's the cliche of hitting. You fail 7 out of 10 times and you're in the Hall of Fame. I mean that's true. It's a
Yeah.
game of failure. It's a game of ups and downs, and it is a mental grind, and I think it's really all mental. Everybody, you get into you take your swing, you throw a pitch. Everybody's going to look, they're going to have good mechanics. They're going to be able to throw. But it's what you do in the moment that is most important in baseball, and that's sometimes the hardest thing to really like get a grasp on.
Yeah. I know this is probably a hard answer and you probably get asked about it a lot, but like what was your favorite experience or like favorite moment in college baseball for you?
I'm trying to. Yeah. So my freshman year, we were playing Santa Clara, and it was a 1-1 game in the ninth inning, and I led off the bottom of the ninth inning, and I hit a first pitch walk off home run,
Yeah.
and I think that's something that I always remember. I've had other good games in the past,
Hmm.
but that's one of those moments that's like forever ingrained into my head. That was probably one of the coolest moments of my life.
No, yeah. I think as like a young kid, every kid dreams of hitting a walk off. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so I know everyone's like draft process is different, What was you kind of alluded to it, but like what was your draft process like for you?
Yeah, so I went through the draft process a bit in high school. I was a good high school player. Same thing, hitting and pitching. I think in high school it was a little more on the pitching side. It didn't work out in high school. Wasn't really frustrated with that. It was more of a if the opportunity's there, I'll take it. Getting to college, I really wanted to have the opportunity to get drafted my junior year and start my professional career. So everything was really working towards that. And yeah, nothing about it was really stuck out. It was pretty typical, getting to junior year, getting to the fall, teams are sending you questionnaires. You fill out the questionnaires, and then you get into season, and you kind of try to push it out to the side, not really think about it, focus more on the season. And then you get to the end of the season, and then you start getting the phone calls from teams. Hey, we're thinking we might see you here. What do you think about that? And luckily, I had a good agent, or I have a good agent in college and currently, and they handled a lot of the
Yeah.
face to face with the team, so I didn't have to really talk too much. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty standard.
Yeah. I want to talk about draft day in a minute, but one thing I forgot to mention. So you played summer collegiate ball in Bethesda. I know you also played a couple games in the Cape
Yeah,
Cod League. Can you talk about what that experience was like? And do you think that helped the draft stock at all? Or can you talk about that?
yeah. So I think summer ball Summer ball is awesome.
Yeah.
I loved playing summer ball. You get to go see different parts of the country. I grew up on the West Coast, grew up in California. I got to go to Maryland, playing in Bethesda, Maryland, and it's a cool area. I really enjoyed my summer there, and um, it's a great team, great league, and most of the time, when you go to summer ball, you play in these leagues where you get sent to maybe a smaller town, away from the city, and
Yeah.
the town really gathers around the summer ball team. And I mean, we sold out every night at Bethesda, and it was cool.
Yeah.
Smaller stadium, we play in front of like maybe 1,500 people, but I mean, it was loud, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I had the opportunity to play in the Cape Cod. Unfortunately, that was cut short. And yeah, that was amazing. I mean, that's like a once in a lifetime opportunity to play in the Cape Cod. It's a storied summer ball league, and yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, that's something I'm looking at for next year to announce and do some broadcasting there. So it's a dream
Yeah.
of mine to always go to the Cape Cod League. So I want to transition back. So talk about draft day. What was it like to get drafted, and what were the nerves and everything involved with that?
Yeah, the draft process, it's pretty hectic.
Yeah.
It's I went through the 40 round draft. Now it's a 20 round draft, so it's a lot shorter. And the way that would work was the first and second round were day one, and then rounds 3 through 10 were day two, and then rounds 11 through 40 were day three.
Yeah.
So, I didn't have too great of a junior year. So I was really expecting to go day three in the teens, with the hope of maybe I'll get a chance to get in the top 10. So day one goes around, I'm not really worried about
Yeah.
it. Just watching, seeing some friends, seeing some guys get their opportunity, which is awesome. Day two rolls around, you start, checking your phone, you're looking at the draft feed, you're keeping your, phone on loud and near you. And then it didn't work out then. So day three, I'm going to bed. I'm like, okay, this could be my day. My agent calls me. He's like, hey, just get up early, make sure you have some coffee, that you're awake early in
Yeah.
the morning. It's going to start early, be ready to go answer the phone. And that rolls around to day three. And then even day three, I was drafted in the 14th round. So there was 3 rounds ahead of me. I mean, and that was like,
Yeah.
that was agony waiting for that moment. And funny part is I'm refreshing the Twitter feed of the MLB draft tracker, and I see my name pop up to the Yankees. And I'm like, wait, what? I
Yeah.
mean, nobody's even told me. Nobody's called me. Nobody's told me anything. And then it just keeps going. I mean, it's one after another draft. So 5 other people get drafted by the time that I finally get the phone call from the area scout. And yeah, he said, we just drafted you, and we want you to pitch for us. We like what we see. And yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. So make sure I'm right on this. So you played rookie ball in 2019. Then you had spring
Yes.
training. Then you had to go home for COVID, right?
Yep.
Okay. So what was going on in that moment for you?
Yeah, that was a crazy moment. I was showing up for my first spring training. Uh, didn't have a car. Was staying in the hotel with a couple other buddies who are still in the system, and we get our spring training canceled. I think week 2, and we actually had a couple COVID cases in the locker room, so we had to quarantine in the hotel for I think two weeks.
Yeah.
So we were quarantined in the hotel for 2 weeks after having spring training canceled. Um, and we were staying out in Tampa, Florida, and yeah, that was crazy. I mean, we were just hanging out in the hotel room for 2 weeks. You're kind of losing our minds a
Yeah.
little bit, but yeah, it was crazy.
So then you guys got sent home, right?
Yeah, yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
we
how'd you
were,
stay ready in that moment when that, like, with all this going on? Because like that, you had a lot of time off baseball. Like, how do you stay ready?
yeah, yeah. It was weird. They said, okay, it could only be a month or two, and we could be back in the complex, and that we should stay ready. So me and my other 2 friends, Edgar Barclay and Zach Green, we all pretty much just got together and just kept throwing, and we were throwing bullpens to each other, and pretty much just training together to try to stay ready. And it just keeps getting drawn out. It keeps getting drawn out, and then before you know, it's September, and we've been throwing bullpens for 5 months, and we're like,
Yeah.
whoa, like okay, like so we pretty much just played catch for 5 straight months trying to
Yeah.
stay ready for the season. And then we finally get the word, okay, it's just gonna no fall instructs, no fall league, nothing. We're just gonna come back ready for spring training 2021. And even that was up in the air. Is it going to be
Yeah.
March? Is it going to be February? And I think maybe around December, they told us April 2021, that's when we're going to be back. So for all that time, we're trying to piece together like, hey, this guy, I know he's a hitter. He wants to hit off some pitching. So let's go throw to him at this random field in the middle of Tampa, Florida.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny. It was cool. Unique time, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you've had some crazy spring trainings. I mean, you had the walkout this year. You had the year before
Yep.
that. You didn't know like when you were coming out, and then it got cut. So, of the time you've had in spring training, what's that experience like? And then during spring training, are there any like big league players you've talked to for advice or tried to pick their brain a little bit?
Yeah, so spring training is awesome. It's we all kind of get together before we break camp, and you get to see all your buddies that went off for the off season, and you also get to see how much better people get during the off season. Everybody wants to take that big step forward coming into spring training, so it's cool. It's a fun time and it's a competitive time, but it's awesome. I can't say we really don't really have too many big leaguers on our side. We keep it pretty separate. We have two separate complexes
Yeah.
with the Yankees. So the one minor league complex is over on one street, and then you go a couple streets over, and George Steinbrenner, the big field, is there.
Yeah.
This last spring training, I got to back up some of the big league games. I got to throw in one of the big league games, which was cool. It was only for one out, and it was only for one pitch because I got the out in one pitch, but still was there. But yeah, I haven't really had too many experiences like talking with any of the big leaguers. But yeah, I mean, it's a unique experience getting to back up those big league games because you're sitting in the bullpen with them. You kind of just watch what they're doing and you watch the routines.
Yeah. So what's like that transition like pro ball been like for you?
It's been awesome. This is what I've always wanted to do. I've always, thought of myself as a professional. I've always tried to keep that mindset. Like I definitely want, very meticulous about how, I go about my things, even going back to high school and college. So I've really liked the adjustment to pro ball. You get to put all your energy into this. And, like in college, you don't have to worry about classes and getting up early, and you're tired all the time, and you're 6 a.m. weights, and then you got your 8 a.m.s, and then you're there for 4 hours, and then you're at practice and you're home. Oh, it's crazy, but this is a lot better.
Yeah. So final like three questions. So I know you're off today, but like what's your like day by day like in in season?
Yeah, so I guess I'll Saturday, for example, we report. I was up to pitch. I was available to pitch. I could pitch in the game as a reliever. So I was in the complex at 2 p.m. Get there, have some lunch, kind of get acclimated a little bit. Right around 3:30, I'll head into the weight room, get all my like weight room like activation in, whether that's like stretching, rolling out, doing some exercises, and that'll take me up until about like I'd probably say 4:45. 4:45, we go out on the field. We do a little like dynamic stretch. I'll throw, get my catch play in, maybe get a pregame bullpen if I feel like doing that. And then from there, you eat a quick meal, throw on your jersey, and then you're out in the bullpen for the game starting at 6:30. And then after that, probably about 9:30, you eat some post-game dinner, shower up, get all your laundry turned in, back home, and then repeat.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. So like I know you don't have like a lot of off time, but like in your off time, what do you like to do?
Yeah, like any good pitcher, I like to golf. That's always something fun to do. I also have a dog. I like to, take her to the park, go on walks. You go to the beach a lot. I mean, the beach is awesome here.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't here this year because of like in season, but in years past, and I plan on next year. Whenever the Marlins guys are down for spring training, we always get some of the minor league guys. We always go out for a round of golf. It feels like, and they're all pitchers too, which is funny that you said that.
Yeah, it's the nature of a pitcher. You love golf.
Yeah. So the last question, we always finish off with it. So down the line, when your baseball career is over, how do you want to be remembered?
Yeah, definitely. I think the two things that I care about would be I will always want to be the best competitor on the field. That's something that I have always tried to be. whether I'm on my best day or my worst day, that I'm going to go out there and compete. I'm going to give myself, I'm going to give the team, and I'm going to give everybody else a chance to succeed and to, win a game. And I've tried to keep that throughout my whole career. And I guess the other thing I would like to be is, a good teammate, somebody that, maybe if I don't make it, somebody else makes it. They could look back and be like, man, like I enjoyed playing with that guy. He helped me out, and we're all trying to achieve the same goal here. So helping each other out is a big part of this whole thing.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, I really appreciate you coming on, man. It means a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Of course.